you need to get online. You need to start doing social media.
5 months, 10K, posting every single day. Mantra, no weeks off.
The word shalom doesn't necessarily mean tranquility, but it means completeness, wholeness, at oneness.
So what if you unpack Hebrew scripture? What's the end goal for them? What do they get out of it?
I've learned more about the languages in the last almost 3 years that I've been doing this now, just by making the videos. If you can't do it, God can do it. A part of us thinks that we need to remember everything that's ever inspired us. Jose, do you remember what you had for lunch on July 18th, 2022? Do you remember what you ate that day? I try to avoid saying I. It's always you. I always show up for the other person. Tell us how you feel. And people would actually do that because we're from an era where social media was about us. So we still show up on social media as if it's about us.
This is The Deep Dive with Jose St. Fard.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. I'm your host, Jose St. Fard, and today we are here to talk with Alex Portillo. As you know, here on The Deep Dive, we're here for leaders, dreamers, and change makers who want to make a lasting impact in the church, in the world, and in business. We're looking to become better leaders so that the things and the people and the systems, the organizations that we run can be better. Every time a leader gets better, everyone around them gets better. And so that's why we're committed to you being here. Alex, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It's a privilege to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're here. I'm so excited. I've been wanting to get you on the show for a while. Alex, for those who don't know you, tell us a little about your journey, who you are, and just how you came to be how you came to be where you are today.
I am the pastor right now of 2 churches in Southwest Washington, usually a rural area. The main work that I do outside of my church is on social media. Run my most successful page is an Instagram page, and that's usually what most people know me for. They don't know me for my pastoral work. They know me for my work
in the community.
On Instagram. That's really what people know me for. And it's funny because the way I stumbled into that was because I started as a blogger.
Wow.
And I did that for years. I think I started a blog in 2003. Do you remember Xanga?
No.
This is...
Educate me.
I just ain't no teaching this. It's old. I started vlogging in Xanga, just putting up my favorite bands, dumb stuff like that. And I did that for years until I went to college, and I started something a little bit more official through Blogger, which eventually got bought out by Google. And I did that for years. And after I graduated college, I bought a domain and started actual blogging with my own space that was curated and designed, and that was the days of our RSS feeds. I remember I was so proud of that because I could see that I had about 500 to 700 people reading my stuff every month, and I was like, my mind was blown. I was like, 700 people reading what I have to
Creator's dream. Creator's dream.
The world is open. I've made it. But then my readership started to decline, and there was nothing I can do about it. So I was like, maybe the problem is something in the back end, like SEO. Maybe it's something technical. So I started learning how to make my blog more discoverable. And it just kept tanking. And then I went out for lunch with my friend Colby Meyer. You probably know him. He's here in Portland. And he's been following my work for several years too. And he said, Alex, you need to get online. You need to start doing social media. And I said, I don't want to do social media. All you Christian creators are so cringy.
Cringy Christians.
I don't want none of that. You know. And he said, this is the only place right now that you're actually going to grow. And, I have dreams. There's things I want to accomplish out of my career. I want to write, I want to get published. And that was why I was blogging, because that's how I'm going to get, that's at least in the past, how people got there. And I finally gave it a try, and I failed 3 times. Posted every day, fell off.
Wow.
Posted for like 2 months, fell off, you know, and gained some traction, grew my Instagram page maybe by like 1,000 people.
Okay.
And at the time I thought that was so impressive, but then got discouraged, ran out of ideas, ran out of steam, and dead in the water.
Wow.
At the end of 2022, I decided, I know I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to get serious about this.
I'm not going to try this anymore. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, you know, because everyone likes to do, I'm going to do a challenge, you know, I'm going to do, and to me it's like, no, like either I'm going to do this or I'm not going to do this. And my philosophy was no weeks off, you know, maybe not no days off, but at least no weeks off.
I like that.
You know, at least one post every week.
I like that.
And that year, so for 2023, I posted at least one time every day that entire year.
Wow.
And during the summer, there was 2 months where I was posting up to 3 times a day. And at the time I wasn't doing single images. I was only doing videos.
Wow.
So I made probably close to 400 videos that year. So 400 short form videos, reached 10K, like
10K
by May.
From 1K to 10K.
Actually, I restarted.
From scratch.
I because I was using my personal account, and instead I just created a new account, told nobody, and worked from zero, and just climbed, building my following from zero.
And how long did that take you?
It took me about 4 or 5 months to get to 10K.
5 months, 10K, posting every single day. Mantra, no weeks off.
Yeah.
I love it. But creatives, if you're listening, if you're hearing this, I'm hearing consistency, I'm hearing commitment, I'm hearing strategy, I'm hearing systems.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about how'd you get there.
But the thing is, bro, that I wish I could say that was like, I hit 10K and that was a success. Because then I was like, I'm going to hit 20K.
Yeah.
And I didn't hit 20K for another year and a half.
Wow.
So think about that. Like I hit 10K in 4 months, but then it took me like a year and a half to hit the 20K.
Yeah.
And then I haven't even hit the 30K yet, mark right now. But like we live in a time right now where social media, you know, people want to grow, like they want to be rocket ships when we live in a time of landmines. You know, that's something I heard Andy Mineo say about music. You know, it's just a matter of people, the right people finding you at the right time, or people stumbling upon you. And then it just explodes, you know, but everybody thinks that like, oh, I'm going to create that one thing and I'm going to blow up. But really you create something good and it might sit there like a landmine for who knows how long until somebody comes and blows and it blows up. You know? So
you go from, but that seems to me the way God operates. It's steady, 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 and then instantly. Like it's every day. It doesn't look like anything's moving, and then boom, it's the disciples going across the lake. Jesus tells them go to the other side. They're rowing and struggling and trying and figuring it out. And in the middle of the lake, they see this. Jesus shows up. He gets in the boat, and it says immediately they get to the other side. So that just seems to me the way God operates with us. And so tell me, what kind of gave you the mindset to say, okay, I'm going to stay consistent. I'm going to create a system. I'm not going to take weeks off. What was the system you put in place in order to do that? Because you say you're a pastor. Is there anything else happening in your life? Are you married? You know, kids? What else is happening while you're trying to get all this done?
Well, really, when I was creating the content, the mindset that I had was I need to come up with this incredible idea for every video that I make, right? And so that is the reason why I failed initially, because you can only come up with so many ideas. I mean, you're only human. You're only one guy.
Wow.
I don't have a team around me. But over the years, I mean, I've been a pastor for more than 10 years now. And 1 year I preached 52 weeks.
Wow.
In 2023, I preached 49 weeks. In 2024, I preached 46 weeks because I took some time off when my kid was born. And the question is, the people always ask, like, how can you preach that much? You know? And over the years, I've created a system for my actual preaching, you know, because I realized this very early on for my preaching, that it's really hard to kind of try to come up with an idea every week and then reverse engineer it. Like, I'm going to come up with an anecdote. I'm going to come up with an idea and then try to find a bunch of Bible text to fit that. You know, that's like, I'm going to talk about hope.
Yeah.
I promise you, every time you put hope into whatever search engine you're using, you're going to get the same verses. You know, it's kind of hard to reverse engineer it. So for what I did for my preaching instead was, I'm going to let the text lead. And so I'm going to have a system for how I get the Bible text I'm going to preach. And for me, it's the Book of Common Prayer, you know, so it's always on a certain theme. It's always, so it's never random. It's very predictable. And there are, through the daily office, there are different texts that you can read every day, you know? So, you know, one week I'll be preaching something I read the week before, or, you know, it's never like up to that week, but I'm constantly reading, I see it, and then I just start doing exegesis, and I let the text lead me to where it wants to go. And so through that system, I found it easier to preach because I'm not coming up with anecdotes and ideas at the beginning of the week. I'm just reading the Bible, and then I let the text lead me to where it wants to go. And you never run out of stuff because you're never going to run out. And so I took that and I realized, all right, in social media, I need to apply the same thing.
The same system.
It's the same system, because that's not what I was doing. I was like coming to social media and I was like, if you can't do it, God can do it.
Quick Christianese, cringy, quote-worthy thoughts.
You get me, right? Like that's what I was doing. And I'd run out of things, you know.
Out of cool things to say.
So then I'd start reading books and be like, let me see how I can steal a quote here and somehow make it work. But instead I was like, all right, instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is I am going to put the same system into my content creation and let the text drive. And that's when it became easy to be consistent, because I would literally have content. And then one day I remember I did a biblical Hebrew study. It was about the Shar Shalom, where Jesus, where in the book of Isaiah, Jesus is called the Shar Shalom, the Prince of Peace, and how in Hebrew, the word shalom doesn't necessarily mean tranquility, but it means completeness, wholeness, at oneness. So what does it mean for Jesus to be the Shar Shalom, the Prince of Peace? It's not that he's the Prince of tranquility. I mean, it is that, but he is the Prince of wholeness, of completeness, of at oneness, you know, and that there is some profoundness to saying, like, if Jesus is your Prince of Peace, there is a ruler in your life whose main concern is to make sure you're whole. You know? And that video took off. And it was the Hebrew element that made it take off. And that's when I realized, this is what people want. And then from there, I just kept doing Hebrew. I did some Greek. Went back to Hebrew. It took off again. And I said,
this is it.
And that's how the system came to be.
So as a creative, what I'm hearing is you became committed to the craft. You applied systems that you were operating in already as a pastor and as a leader. And then you said, I'm going to listen to my audience. I'm going to listen to what they're telling me, because the audience tells you what they want. And then you caught this one thing, said, okay, let's go here. And from there, listening to what people are looking for, hearing what they say, using your skills, putting a system together, and now you're at a place where people know you as the guy who helps them understand Hebrew.
I'm that guy.
So tell us a little bit about your Instagram page. What is it called? You know, how can people find you? What are they gonna find?
My handle is Samberto Alejandro.
Okay.
It's a funny play on words because I had a church member that accused me of being a Jesuit. I don't know why this is like the go-to insult.
Yeah, I don't get it.
For pastors,
Yeah.
you know, it's like as if
meanwhile the Jesuits are going, we're good people.
They don't care who we are.
Exactly.
You know, and so I was really inspired at the time by the writings of Saint Francis. You know, I love him. And then they called his order the Franciscans. You know, so I was a little bit inspired by that and a little bit annoyed at my church member at the same time. So I called, my first name is Robert. You know, so I called myself Samberto.
Which for people who don't know,
as a joke.
Saint Robert. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah. And so what is your role in doing this? What is your goal in unpacking Hebrew scripture for people? So what if you unpack Hebrew scripture? What's the end goal for them? What do they get out of it?
Yeah. So there's something that I try to focus a lot on my page, and that is to move away from etymology, because that's where everyone thinks, that's how, like if you pick up most books, and I don't want to call out authors right now. They're New York best-selling books right now. You know that by Christian authors, that they'll be like, the Hebrew says this, the Hebrew says that. And
that's what you mean by etymology. What does the word mean?
Yes. Like what is the root and all this bunch of stuff. And then they'll say like, it could mean 10 different things. And then they'll go with like all these 10 different meanings. They'd be like, we just cracked open the meaning of this passage.
And then you try to do a universal application of all those meanings.
But that's not how language works.
That's not accurate, because there's connotation, denotation.
Because there's lexical range. Exactly. You know, it's like the word strike. You know, like, are we playing bowling? Are we playing baseball? Are we talking about lightning? Are we talking about violence? Or are we talking about the word run? Is the refrigerator running? Are your feet running? Is your nose running?
Has lightning struck?
It is preposterous to say it means all of those things at the same time. You know, it is context that tells you what it means. And often when a lot of people use languages, they'll it's almost like they opened the Strong's Concordance. And for people watching at home, a concordance is not a dictionary. Strong's is not a dictionary. Anyways, it's like they opened Strong's Concordance, saw all these different ways it's translated in the King James Version, and says, I can just pick and choose the ones that make sense most to what I am trying to communicate. You know, but the beauty of language is that what a word functions a specific way within a language. And when you can understand how that word works within that language, that is when you start cracking the beauty of the word, not in its etymology, not in all its possible meanings and all its possible usages, but when you can understand how that word actually works within the language. Because language carries culture, language carries presuppositions. Like earlier, your cameraman and I were talking here. Like, you know, I was telling him how like in some Inuit cultures, there are, I think it's 6 or 8 different words for snow.
Wow.
In English, we only have one. We have adjectives that we add to different kinds of snow. But we only have one word because snow is not really a big part of our lives, you know. But through language, by the lack of words or by a plethora of words, you really get to see a piece of that culture without actually visiting it. And since Hebrew is this dead language, at least biblical Hebrew, Masoretic Hebrew is a dead language, when you can read it for what it is, you see this piece of an ancient world of the things that they cared about, where like words of compassion are never really associated, like they're not so cold the way they are in English. Like compassion is very neutral in English, you know, but in Hebrew, it's always connected to a womb, you know, or the word leadership, for example. In English, we have this word leadership. In Hebrew, there is no word for leadership. You know, it's either Rosh, which is the head, or it's either Nasi, which is a prince, or sometimes it is... can't remember all the words now, but by the fact that they're either lacking words or words that are used to describe things, you realize the things that are important in this community. And you realize how much in English, how much you impose into the text, not just because of your worldview, but because of your language. You know, so like if I have a goal sometimes, you know, one of my goals is for people to have like this, to roll back the presuppositions that we have when we look at text in English, to see a more ancient, a more humble, a more nomadic, a more agrarian society, to realize like the questions that they're asking about God are not as scientific as the ones that we're asking. They're a lot more simple. You know, and
more organic.
They're very organic. You know, they're rooted in a world that has no running water, no electricity, where the next meal is not guaranteed. The place where you are loving, and the animal you're loving and raising is going to be the animal you're going to eat next week. You know, and the language reflects
that.
All of this, you know. So if I have like a goal, one of my goals is for people to see the beauty and the simplicity of the way these people are talking about God. But and there's this other element that's also selfish, that it's also for me. Because I mean, you went to seminary. You know that most of us, we don't use the languages. Once we stop going, once we get out,
well,
it's gone. You know.
I tried to though. I have a minors in biblical languages, and so that has always been something that's important to me. But you're right, most of us, we leave that behind, and then we just, you know, kind of keep going.
And for me, a part of this has also been to sharpen myself, to keep using it. And in the last 2 years, there's so much. I wish I could take my biblical languages classes again with what I know now, because I've learned more about the languages in the last almost 3 years that I've been doing this now, just by making the videos, because I'm forced to look at syntax. I'm forced to look at the way the language is functioning. I forget what something means and I have to go and look at it again. I'm like, oh, that's beautiful.
That's beautiful. So you know, this constant invitation, this constant engagement of scripture, how has it shaped you as a leader?
It's shaping me in ways that I can't remember. And I'm very specific with how I say that, because I think something that people, and I say this, people, not necessarily just leaders, but just all of us, that a part of us thinks that we need to remember everything that's ever inspired us. You know, like every morning devotional, whatever you read, if you understood it, you need to remember what you read. You need to remember what the lesson was. You need to draw something out of it. The sermon needs to inspire you. The Wednesday night, you know, the teacher put a lot of work. You should remember everything that teacher.
The Wednesday night Bible study.
You got to remember that. You know. But in reality, that's a lot of pressure. And what I realized is that all these moments that have of engagement with the sacred, so whether it's like Sabbath morning worship, whether that is Wednesday night prayer meeting, whether that is my morning prayer time, all of it is a disciplined or scheduled time to eat. It is food. And if I were to ask you right now, Jose, do you remember what you had for lunch on July 18th, 2022? Do you remember what you ate that day? Do you remember what you had? Let's bring it closer. Do you remember what you had for supper 3 Mondays ago?
No.
Did it nourish you?
Yeah.
Did it feed you? Did it bring you to where you are now?
I love that. That's so good.
Like in the same way that we are sustained by 1,000 forgettable meals. We are sustained by 1,000 moments of worship. You know, like even though you can't remember what you read, even though you can't remember what it is that you studied, you can't remember that book that you read, there was something about you disciplining yourself to be still and read. There's something about you being there and praying. There was something about you reading the Bible, even if you got nothing out of it. There is something about that. That is shaping you in ways that you can't see.
I love that.
And we are shaped by 1,000 in the same way that we are shaped and sustained by 1,000 forgettable meals. We are shaped and formed by 1,000 forgettable moments of worship.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I love that.
And like you can like, there are very few meals that we ever remember. Like I really like, there are meals I've had that blew me away.
Yeah.
But
you might remember the restaurant you're at.
I might remember the restaurant.
You might remember who cooked it. You know, Auntie Joe cooked this lasagna.
Yeah.
But you don't remember when it happened.
You don't remember.
And the same thing is for scripture.
And the same thing. And there are even moments where I've had moments where food has blown me away.
Yeah.
And I forget about it until someone reminds me. I'm like, oh yeah, that one meal was amazing.
Yeah.
You know, and this is the same thing with scripture. You know, it's like there can be a sermon that deeply impacts you and then you eventually forget about it.
Yeah.
But the point is not you remembering. The point is how that moment existed in your life as a meal of daily bread to get you to your next meal. Yeah. And a lot of us function in this way where we think that everything we study, everything, we have to remember all of it, when it's not so much how much you can contain, but it's more about how much nourishment is coming into your body. Yeah. How are you disciplining yourself to eat regularly, to eat healthy, you know, in a spiritual sense? And that is what sustains you in the long run, you know? So you like, your question to me is like, how is it changing me? You know, it's like, I wish I could tell you, I've spent all this time in the text. So that means that if you ask me anything about what does the Hebrew text say in this Bible text and this, I wish I could pull that up like a robot. Yeah. I can't even tell you what video I did 2 weeks ago anymore. Yeah. You know, but what I do know is that it has nourished me. Yeah. To where I am now.
Yeah. And I think what's important about that is, most of us see scripture as pieces of information, and we consume information, and we're expected to remember information. We're expected to remember. You know, you read this book. What was that book about? You did this. What is that? Yeah. But what I'm hearing from you and what I'm gathering is scripture is a source of transformation. It's not a source of information. When I'm consuming it, I'm exposing myself to something that can shape me. And I'm not going to remember each time I'm shaped and the curves. I'm not going to remember that I grew. I'm just going to know 10 years from now or 5 years from now, or I've grown, I've been sustained, I'm going to survive. And I'm becoming a different person without understanding it. Jesus says it this way. Jesus says, the wind blows and you don't know where it's coming from. And you don't know where it's going. Like growth doesn't happen on day 2, day 3, because I've read this much, that much. And so I think what's helpful for people out there is, as I'm seeking to understand scripture, as I'm maybe I'm on Alex's page every day and I'm the nuggets, the goal is the exposure. The exposure is what transforms you. The exposure to the scripture, not grabbing as much information as possible and trying to remember it. And often we use the Bible that way, as a source of collecting information, consuming in order to regurgitate, rather than allowing it to nourish us for us to grow. And so I love that. I love that. Okay, so here's the thing. What would you say, as we wrap up here, what's a practice you'd recommend for leaders who want to keep growing in their faith, growing in their content creation, growing in showing up every day online as a faith-based leader? What's a practice that you do that you'd recommend to someone else?
A practice to be able to show up every day online. So this is specifically
online. Like you're online. So tell somebody who's starting, tell a younger version of you what they don't know.
If I were to go speak to a younger me in 2022, what I'd say to that kid in 2022 is different than what I would say to a younger me living in 2025.
Well, tell it to the person living in 2025.
And the reason is because the internet is a constant changing landscape. I was recently listening to a podcast where they were talking about dogs and what do dogs feel? And essentially what they were saying is that we've discovered that we often we project our feelings onto dogs. So they did this experiment where they rotoscoped dogs in what we perceive as stressful situations and what we perceive as good situations. And they rotoscoped the dog. So all you can see is the dog. And they asked people, is the dog happy or sad?
Oh, wow.
And just about I think 50 to 70% of the time people got it wrong. And then they showed the whole thing. And when people would think they were sad, they were looking at the larger context, you know? And what they said was, what we have discovered is that dogs don't maybe experience the world through feelings the way we do. You know, like I'm happy, I'm sad, you know, but they probably experience the world in different categories, like through their smells.
Oh, wow.
And what's interesting.
So they don't feel the world, they smell the world.
They smell the world. And so let's say you leave, right? The longer you're gone, the more your scent begins to fade. So like really, them feeling like you're gone has not more to do with your physical presence there, but how long your smell lingers. You know, so like after 2 days, your smell is going to be less. 3 days, 1 week, they won't be able to smell you anymore. And that's when you're finally gone. You know, so really, I think that the internet is a lot like that, you know, where like there is this constant changing landscape. Like smells are always changing. Like smells are always changing. What's in the trash can? Who's walking inside of the room? You know, and to me, that is what the internet is like. That it's never the same thing. And because it's never the same thing, there's this pressure on that creators have that we have to constantly be reinventing ourselves. You know, and what creators often have is they don't want to. They don't want to reinvent themselves, and they don't want to play the rat race. But at the same time, they do. They have to. They have to, and it's this like internal conflict that people have. You know, and what I have realized is that what has made being online easier for me is realizing that what I do, the videos that I make, like the short form content, I have to call it what it is. And you might not like this. I know the world might not like hearing me say this, but short form content is disposable content. The same way like you buy a soda at the store, you're gonna have this moment where it's a really pretty bottle, but the moment you're done, you're tossing that bottle. That is what social media content it is disposable. Doesn't matter how much. If I call it art, the moment it leaves the barrel, it has a lifespan, and the moment people are done, it's disposed, and people are not going to watch it again.
They're not coming back.
They're not coming back to it. Maybe it might blast off, but even if it gets 1 million views, those people that gave it 1 million views only probably watched it once and are likely never coming back to it, except for that rare person that does come back. And there's all these people that spend so much time editing, trying to get it perfect. It needs to be exactly who I am. It needs to express my uniqueness. And the thing is like, buddy, people here are not showing up for you. They're showing up for themselves. They're showing up for themselves, and your content is disposable. Like you can make mistakes. And you have to show up for the other people.
Show up, but give yourself grace.
You have to show up for other people. Like in like the question that I do whenever I make my social media content is not what do I like, you know, because I think a lot of people position themselves like they're famous, because that we grew up in an age of, you know, of MySpace, friends. That's
but I had High Five. Was it High
Five? and you look at all of these social media platforms. And even like when I get my Facebook memories, I'm like, why did I put that on my wall? It's literally a wall saying, tell us how you feel. And people would actually do that because we're from an era where social media was about us. And so we still show up on social media as if it's about us, showing people the food that we're eating, showing the people the places that we are. People do not care. You know, if you're trying to grow,
if you're the hero,
people don't care. If you're showing up on social media, like people that are like scrolling, trying to find creators, they're trying to find creators that have something for them, you know? Like if you're The Rock or Sofia Vergara, go ahead. Post all about yourself because you're a celebrity. But if you're not...
And they're still showing up for them. In doing that, right? Because I feel like I know The Rock. Yes. I feel like I know Beyonce. I know. So they're still showing up for them. They're not really showing up for Beyonce. They're showing up for the association that comes with knowing what Beyonce ate that day.
But Jose Saint-Fard or even Alex Portillo, even with the following that I have, I never take for granted to think that people are watching my videos because of me. Yeah. They're watching the video because they're hoping, because for some selfish reason, that they can take something to either encourage them, to bless them, that they can share with someone that they love to encourage them, something to make them laugh. Because people show up on the internet, like, why do people pull out their phones? Most people pull out their phones because they're bored. Most people pull out their phones because they're trying to escape the monotony and the pain of life. And the thing is, if you don't show up to honor that, to honor that people are trying to disassociate, you know, and you just show up for yourself, it's going to be hard for people to take you seriously, you know? So like my advice to people would be, if you want to grow on the internet, you have to show up as if you're not a celebrity. Your name needs to be buried. You know, it can't be about you. It has to be everything, from the way you talk, from the way the content is built, from the way you write your scripts. Like for myself, I have a rule that for every 20 eyes, for every eye, there's 20 U's. That's what I try, you know, like I think right now, if you go through my videos, I don't say I for at least 5 videos. You know, that's like I try to avoid saying I. It's always you. I always show up for the other person. You know, so taking that in consideration, you know, it's like honoring why people are actually on the app. And realizing that this is disposable content. You can take risks, and your whole personality is not on the line. If you start experimenting, editing outside of your style, outside of whatever, like,
just
fun.
Go for it.
Just go for it.
Go for it,
and just do it. And if it fails, try it with a higher quality camera in 3 weeks and see what happens.
Show up for others. Show up consistently, and show up authentically. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Robert, for being with us. I called you Robert.
Call me Alex, bro.
Thank you so much, Alex, for showing up with us today. Thank you for showing up. We want to show up for you. We want to help you continue to grow as a leader, as a dreamer, and as a change maker. Thank you for joining us here at the Deep Dive. I want you to like this page, share it with a friend, subscribe so you can know when we drop our next episode. We're so grateful that you're here. If you're listening to us anywhere on our Spotify or Apple Podcasts, we thank you so much for joining us. Drop us a comment. Let us know how this helped you. If you know a creator who's just starting out, if you know a leader who's trying to show up somewhere, who are looking for systems, looking for practices, let them know this is the episode to listen to. Thank you so much for being here, and let's continue to dive deep.
This is The Deep Dive with Jose St. Fard.